Hey there, my name is Heather Feather. I am the owner of Rare Bird Medicine, and today's topic is be happy. As a general rule, I'm not a huge fan of clothing or bumper stickers or anything that tells others what to do or who to be. So I want to just start by saying this video is not about me telling you what to be. And that really comes from me honoring the autonomy and the freedom that we have with choice in this life. Choice was actually my mother's favorite word in the world. And your choice to do whatever you want. You can be mean, you can be cruel, you can be a killer, you can be a saint. You are creating a character, and that character, I do believe, is in a state of evolution, and I do think there's a spirit back of that character that's eternal, and so you have as long as you want to play as many characters as you want, and I'm not the boss of you, and I don't want to be. It's difficult enough to be a steward of me and to be a leader in my own life for me. However, the reason I wanted to do a video on Be Happy, and if you'd like, you can play Happy by PIL in the background as we discuss this, is because I, as an entity, with my choice, with my intent, with my character building, with my soul intent, have a large focus around happiness. How does Heather Feather be happy? How does Heather Feather be happy in relationship to others, in relationship to relationship, in relationship to not having a relationship? How do I maintain a certain level of happiness? I do think a massive facet of finding happiness in this life and walking a path of happiness includes digesting or chewing the meat off the bones, if you will, of shadow, of challenge, of trial, of tribulation. Richard Bach, in his book Illusions, says there's no such thing as a problem without a gift for you in its hands. We seek problems because we need their gifts. So the question I'm always asking myself when I have trial, tribulation, problem, shadow, any issue of this nature is, what is the gift? What would a soul get out of this experience? How does this evolve me? How could this be pressure to make a diamond shine light in me, right? And so I don't expect and do not seek for happiness to be a constant and habituated state of being, because all emotions are allowed. I often say the first thing we do when we get to Earth School is cry. We seem angry and sad. As soon as we get here, we're like, oops. Oops, delete file. Made a terrible mistake. But babies cry often when they get to Earth School. I'd say the mathematical percentage on that is relatively high. And so we know that sorrow, sadness, tears, anger, all of the range of the gamut of what we can call emotional range, that is allowed, it is permitted, it is valid, it is part of the human condition. It's written into the design and the way we come into the paradigm. And I've had many teachers point to me that life isn't really about happiness, Heather. This happens a lot in spiritual circles. I've had a lot of spiritual teachers and spiritual writings that I've read that point again and again and again, happiness is not the point. It's about fulfillment. It's about purpose. It's about, and I think those things are noble endeavors as well. What is your purpose? Why are you here? I think that's a question many two-leggeds can struggle with. And I think a good way to flesh that up in the field is to consider what you've been placing your attention on. That's how you've been developing the soul. Where are you placing your attention? That might point to some purpose or some intent that your soul has back of the design. And I do think fulfillment can be important as well. However, I think each entity has their own energetic frequencies of focus that they intended to flush up in character development with their soul, dragging their future death sack through a lifetime, that there's something specific they were wanting to harness in the self. Many people are being betrayed again and again and again. Heather Feather's had that experience plenty. Betrayals, liars, which I find so odd, because I was raised to have integrity and honesty, not because I'm superior. I'm just at that point in my evolution where that's the mother I was given, one that really focused on integrity and honesty from an early age in my consciousness. And so I had these teachers and was like, what is the gift of this? Why do I have these people that have a tendency to betray me or not be their word or be out of integrity with me when I've been given the grace of that teaching from a very early age? Well, those beings give me opportunity to apply forgiveness, because those qualities are easily judged. And when I judge, I lose sight of the content of my character, which I believe foundationally for all of us to be love. In order to get back to love, I have to get out of the foolishness of judgment. We only need to forgive because we've condemned. And so we forgive because we're out of accord with our divine resonance when we are condemning and judging, because that's actually what I believe to be not the nature of the truth of my frequency. And therefore, I'm being inauthentic when I judge, and I forgive so that I can be authentic again, so that I can find myself and stop all this foolish insanity. And I'm grateful that one of the themes I came in to understand better is forgiveness. You know, forgiveness, many two-leggeds think it has to do with the other person or giving the other person a pass. Or many teachers will say, forgiveness isn't about giving them a pass. It's about coming to understanding. But I would say, sure, forgiveness is really about you getting honest with you're out of accord with your capacity for higher frequency vibration and higher frequency consciousness in relation to others, because you don't walk in their shoes. So what right do you have to condemn or judge them to begin with? You know almost nothing of them. We barely know ourselves. And so I'm grateful for that lesson of forgiveness. And I would say I, as an entity, have a great focus on what it means to be happy. What is a life well enjoyed? I'm very studious, being neurodivergent. I absorb spiritual data for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and psychological data, and all the stuff, all the topics, all of my special interests. I can eat and chew the meat off those bones all day long. I exhaust people sometimes. You know, it's like I can read somebody's astrology chart for 4 hours, but my experience after decades of reading people's astrology charts is that two-leggeds can take in about 1 to 2 hours of data, and their eyes literally start to close as they listen. They stop being able to receive data. And so I've learned not everybody loves to have information shoved down their gullet, you know? So I was like, okay. And I do find that innate desire that I have to incessantly study can cause me to have a very stoic quality at times to my being. I become very studious, very stoic, very serious, very severe in my energy, because I'm trying to garner data, retain data, and that can create an intensity in my frequency in the desire to become a knower. And I love it about me. Love it. I love to be intense. You know, I love to camp too. I like being intense. Dork. Burk. But you know, I don't begrudge that quality in me. And I also don't intend in this life, from birth until death, to have great severity in my frequency. There's a reason that there are teachings that say be like a child. How much fun am I having? How much kite flying am I doing? How much am I finding and exploring those new pathways in nature that light up my spirit just as much as a book can? And so part of being happy for me is understanding that happiness often comes from being well pleased with what is currently present in one's life. A lot of people in the modern age are unhappy, and it's because they're chasing 1,000 ghosts. Got to get that new iPhone, got to get those new kicks, got to get that new purse, got to get that new brrr. And it's like chasing dragons. There's no point at which you're going to catch up to that fast-moving train of constantly needing something other than what you have. And all of that consumerism takes and strips from the earth. And so on some level, I think on a soul level, we know that that's never really going to fulfill the self. And so it's not wrong to desire things. It's a hologram. Desire all you want. Stack up items all the way to the heavens if you want. It's a hologram. Doesn't matter in my perspective. And I have found some of the greatest joys, some of the greatest happiness in this realm to come from, first of all, finding space to be well pleased with where I am right now, because it is the only place I ever am. Heather Feather's physical body and her breath, which I believe tethers my soul to the body, has only ever been here now. But my mind has a tendency to wander into past and future paradigms. What if I got this? What if I moved there? Ooh, what if I had a relationship? And so then, rather than being well pleased with where I actually find myself, I'm in a daydream. I'm in a fantasy. And it's good to use your imagination to envision the future. I think it serves, helping these waves of probability to collapse into the particles we would like to see. And I find happiness is found in the here and now. And so the question I'm asking you today is, when you look upon your life, are you well pleased with it? Are you happy? Are you satisfied? Do you enjoy the life that you're living? I love to laugh, and I can tell you right now, my life could always do with more laughter. Luckily, I know a lot of silly people, and so I'm always looking at more and more ways to have fun, to enjoy, to laugh my way through what can be called the banality of existence. How do I laugh my way through this cosmic joke? How do I remember that I'm a clown in a cosmic joke? How do I remember to have fun and enjoy the gift I've been given? Why would you not enjoy a gift, the gift of life? It's a gift. Shouldn't it be enjoyed? Isn't that the purpose of a gift, right? And so one of the examples I can give you in relationship to this is, I think part of that, not being in a space of seeking, not being in a space of needing and wanting and craving and having those 1,000 hungry ghosts of wanting more. I don't ever recall a period in my life where I have craved friendship. I do think it's part of being neurodivergent. I just don't, it's like, yeah, I could have a friend, but I also could study this book. So I have their mind, but I could also have this mind in a book. So I don't, I don't typically utilize friendship as a space to have somebody support me in altering my consciousness. A lot of people use friendship for like counseling, and I'm happy to counsel my friends, and there are many friends that I will counsel, but I will not call them if I could potentially need what is called counsel. I tend to be very self-coaching. I tend to be very self-evaluating. I tend to go back to my spiritual teachers when I am desiring to garner understanding. I tend to not lean into a human when I want to come to understanding. I tend to lean into humans that have put words on paper, a more impersonal version of that. And I can tell you, I have easily well over 100 people I could call right now that not only would be a lovely friend to me, but would offer me a divine ear if they're available. I am well blessed in the friendship department, and I always have been. Heather Feather has never, ever had any difficulty. I often am like, have to tell people like, oh, I'm actually not looking for friends. Thank you, bless it. I don't, it's like, I don't, that to me, I'm an extreme introvert. So that's more opportunity for me to pour energy into two-leggeds require a lot of attention, and I have a lot of things I want to put my attention on. And so that can sound very selfish, but a neurodivergent brain tends to be very self-absorbed with wanting to seek certain types of information. And so everything else I'm doing can sometimes be a distraction from that deep interest, right? So what I can say is not having that craving, that seeking, that desire, that seeming emptiness around the topic called friendship has filled my cup to overflowing on the topic of friendship. I have friends in spades and spades and droves, and they are some of the most unbelievable, sacred people. I wish you could meet them all. You would be well blessed to meet any one of them. Many of you may be watching this now. And I could say when it comes to romantic relationship, I've had great craving, great desire, because my preference is to be able to focus on my interests and then have really deep connected intimacy with one purpose, and then go back to focusing on my interests and then having really deep connected intimacy with one person, because many, many, many people tends to overwhelm my system. You're engaging with all these other stories, and is it the story I wanted to focus on as a special interest, right? And so I can say in that, I have had a lot of what we could call lack or loss or missing or not quite hitting the mark when it comes to romantic relationship. And it's one of the places where I have lost the sense of happiness. And I think in order for me to truly be happy, it is a matter of me accepting where I am and what is going on, and understanding that relationship does have potential for me in the future. And right now, I'm in this monkhood in which I am really working to redirect my attention from desire, attraction, romantic concepts, interest, thinking of it. And it's difficult because romantic relationship is one of my special interests. So it's kind of a fool's errand sometimes. And the point I'm trying to make here is that often where we have craving, we have lack of fulfillment. If we crave prosperity because we're so poor, our attention is actually on our poverty. If we crave relationship because we've been alone for so many years, our actual attention is on the lack of relationship that's present in our life. And so are you able today to be happy with your life on a physical, mental, emotional, spiritual level, on a relationship level? Are you happy with what is present? Are you able to receive yourself in the now and find joy in simply being? Sometimes our greatest joy comes in the smallest of things. Sweet cup of tea, a bird and its song. There's so many things that can bring a smile to your existence. You can always subscribe to Rare Bird Medicine on YouTube, like and comment there. I always love your thoughts. Amun.